breathe, connect. It's always time for your best you. Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. Kathleen Fennedy, and I'm here with the good witch, Joan Kazmarzik. We're here today.
Hi, guys.
To work with our chakra number 3, the solar plexus, our tummy, the place where we have our second kind of what we call mind, our gut intelligence. So welcome, Joan. Thanks for coming today. Again,
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you joining me, co-hosting.
It's always fun to be here.
So what do you think of when you think of yellow?
Well, let's see. I mean, first, right off the bat, I think of bananas. But I wonder if that's because...
do we have some bananas?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we have some bananas.
We have some bananas, and we also have
some bananas today.
Well, you know why we think of bananas, because of a certain young husky that has a thing about bananas.
You know, I told you I saw that YouTube video, and they're showing all these dogs. Yeah. Apparently, dogs love bananas, but bananas are so good for us because they have that magnesium, which is really good for our intestines. And since we're talking about intestines, being that we're in the chakra 3, I figured I'd bring us a familiar bananas. Yeah. And then also lemons, which are a yellow fruit, and they're wonderful good for the intestine.
And wonderful on fish.
But they're good for the intestines. So what that does is it helps us with our digestion. So I'm always encouraging cutting up the lemon and putting it in the water and even letting it sit in there and get really kind of bitter. You know, think about old times where they would have the bitters. Yeah. It was a reason because it helped with healing in the body, because we've become so processed. Yeah. So I was thinking about, well, here we are in the food lane. Yep. And it's almost the end of January 2020. So it's still a little chilly, and it's comfort food time. We're coming up to the Super Bowl.
Yep, this coming weekend.
Right.
Sunday.
And so I'm thinking, what do we do? Now, I've done a lot of vegetables. I'm always about the vegetables. Right. And, of course, I'm always about the organic. Yep. And people get confused when I'm talking organic. I usually want you to go whole food and local, not necessarily organic processed treats. So watch that, because it's a marketing technique that's used to make you think you're eating organic. But what we want to do is get back to the earth and get back to a healthy gut. So, no, I'm not a vegetarian.
No, you're not.
I do eat fish and poultry and meat, but I'm very selective. Yep. I'm not interested in the industrialized slaughterhouses and the food that's produced at that mass level, because it's not handled properly. So when I choose organic, I'm choosing it because the standards are higher, even in how they slaughter the animals. So I am still a carnivore, and I still do eat meat and fish. Yep. But again, I'm not going to be eating the salmon that's farm-raised, sustainable, organic. I'm going to go with the wild caught. So those are just a couple of my little tips on that. Now, I mentioned that I really want us to get back to the earth. So here we are. We're talking about making today Sloppy Joes, because it's a Sloppy Joe slider kind of day.
Yes, it is.
And I thought, well, that would be fun.
And they would go wonderful for a Super Bowl party, too.
Perfect for the Super Bowl party. Hopefully you'll see the show before then. If not, you can use it for any gathering. Yep. And kids love them, too. Yep. But it's a great way to get, stretch the meat because of the budget. It is a little more to buy the grass-fed beef, but you can get it at Big Y's and Stop and Shops. And so I thought I'd start with, what's the base? And what do you do when you're working with an onion? Because you don't want to buy the Sloppy Joe mix. It doesn't take much to make your own kind of Sloppy Joe. And as you can see, I've put mine into a crock pot so that can run. You can do that ahead of time, and then when you come back from wherever you've gone off for the day, it's ready.
And the house smells amazing.
And the house smells amazing, I've been told. No.
Yes, it does. That's what I said.
So here we have a simple onion. Now, first, let me just show you. This is not a cutting board. It's
Temptations. It's like a pot holder.
It's a pot holder, but it's got
it has
a non-slide surface.
Yeah,
so
it has
when
silicone
we're
on it.
using cutting boards, everything always slips. to cut an onion simply. Cut off one end, turn it around, and cut off the other end. Preferably, you've kept them in the refrigerator so that they're not as, spray you want to cry. Now you have this whole onion with both ends cut, slice right down the side, and you can pull off that top layer of thick skin. And that can get set aside. Now you have the onion, cut it in half. You see? I have two sides down now. Safe, it's not going to slip, and you can get an even cut. Just cutting each end down. Now it's lined up, and then cut. Least amount of spray, and you can even cut it one more time if you want to slip it over on a side and make an extra chop.
As I'll tell you, I'm sitting right here. I'm in close vicinity, and I can't smell it, which is...
So, and then what you're able to do, because it's right on this little pad, is then put that into the saucepan. The saucepan will have some oil, it will have some butter, and I usually add in some wine and some honey and some different things. But the onions and the garlic will be simmering in that saucepan. No meat yet. Okay, so let me move that away. Because onions can be very slippery. And you can get cut. And it can be messy, which those are a couple of the factors that make it so you don't want to do the cooking, and it becomes easier to get it bought, like, what's the Sloppy Joe in a cans or something like that.
Manwich.
Manwich. Okay, and now I'm going to show you how to take a piece of garlic and make it so that you can get it going quick into the pot. So again, think of the sides. Find the stable ground, just as if you were doing yoga. Find your feet, and then cut off the end. Cut off the end. Now you've got all that gnarly skin pretty much off of it. I feel like Martha Stewart a little bit right now. But it is a meditation. Cooking is a pleasurable activity, and it's something that you can bring the family in, become engaged in it. As you know, Eddie Cooper's been on, and he loves to do the cooking. So what I do is I take the flat of the knife. You've got the clove. The flat of the knife, and press. There, you heard the pop.
Yep.
And now the garlic clove has been flattened, and now you can just slightly cut it. And again, look at, you've got all nice garlic. And again, that goes right into the pan. We don't have the pan, but that's okay. So then I saute all of that. Now what I have is, in this particular dish, I had 3 onions. Mm-hmm. So with each pound of meat, I took an onion and a garlic clove to match it. Okay, because we want to create a flavor.
Right, you want to layer those flavors in.
Exactly. And then I added one of my favorite winter helpmates for our immune system, and great to get this into the kids, but also great for us older folks, is the bone broth. So then you add that into the mixture.
That's getting very easy to find now.
Yes. Funny, when I first came back to Connecticut.
You couldn't find organic. I mean, it was like going on a treasure hunt trying to find anything. And now you can get this right at Walmart.
Well, it is because we've become more educated, sure. And I understand that there's generally a little bit of a price variable, but you can actually break that price variable in many ways.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about getting the most fanciest of foods, but with the regular foods, if you're willing to put in a little bit of time, and I try to make everything really simple, one pot easy. The reason why I have this in a crock pot is because I'm transporting it into the studio so everybody can enjoy it. But otherwise, you could just do this in a big saucepan, skillet, and then you can transfer it into a bigger pot if you want to make a really big pot. But I like to do the sautéing because that's where it brings out the flavors. And I brought in a bunch of different spices. I don't know what's your favorite one there, Joan.
My favorite is probably the basil.
Yeah.
Right there.
So yeah, basil is great. I put the basil in, and it's easy to grow too. Yeah. You know I love to grow that fresh basil.
Yeah, you do.
You can grow the fresh basil wherever you are. Get that fresh basil growing, put it in a nice sunny spot, and you can add it on top of your pizzas and everything, and it makes it so delicious.
Or even just on sliced tomato with a little bit of mozzarella cheese.
Absolutely. It makes for a really great dish.
Yes, it does.
So ask yourself, you know, am I worth it? I think that's the first question, and is my family worth it? And then you learn ways, like I did with the beans and I've done with the greens, to find these really healthy choices. And then the other little choices don't seem to have such a detrimental effect upon the internal body health.
Yeah.
Because that's 27 feet. Mm-hmm. So 27 feet of living organism that has a muscular movement and a churning, and it's like an oven that digests everything that we eat. So we are what we eat. So if we're eating food that, like, say, for example, we know that corn is not good for us because when we eat it, inside of the corn are microscopic beings, and we eat them and they grow in us. And some of them go through our intestines, and you know they grow through our body, and we're not able to process them, and we're not able to remove them. So they become a part of us, and that's where a lot of our disease begins.
Well, plus I saw something very recently on TV about that because of the chemicals that they spray on the corn, that there's supposed to be, you know, X amount is considered okay. And the regular corn that goes into the American diet has almost 150 times that amount of poison in the corn.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of corn.
So that's a scary.
Well, the larger industries, not to name names because I don't like to name the names, but the larger industries, you know, it's all this pyramid structure in which we live, including with the food industry and the drug industry are in the same place together. So there's really no oversight with that. It's almost like they're in bed together. So one has to wonder who's watching over my food and who's watching over my drugs. Yeah. Oh, the same person. Okay, well, that's probably not a good idea. Yeah. So we have to watch over our food, and we have to watch over our drugs and choose and make healthy choices. And it's not always easy. No. But food is kind of simple. And I like to use food as medicine as often as possible. Yeah. So I choose food.
Food and herbs and things like that.
And even, the elderberry and the cinnamon mixtures that are around, those I find very effective. Honey, I find really effective for immune boosting. Yeah. Bone broths, you know, you can buy a small box of this bone broth for $3 or $4.
Well, actually, that big box right here is under $3.
So it's under $3 for it. Not a lot of money, and then you fill it up with things like organic potatoes, onions, put everything into it, and then you have a super soup.
Well, I have to say something. I have to share this with our audience. This lady makes a French onion soup.
Oh yeah.
That I don't know. Zakarian or Iron Chef Alex Gornishelli would cry because it's so good.
I think that's one of her favorites.
Oh God, yeah.
That's one of her favorites.
When she makes that, it's like, oh my God, little bit of heaven, little bit of heaven.
So food is a little bit of heaven on earth, you know. It really is, because it's how we join together, and we commune and we share. And when we lose that gathering of ourselves at the table, we lose such an essential essential part of what it is to be human, which is sharing that communion, sharing the bread, sharing the wine, sharing the, sharing of the feast. And I think it's wonderful to do as often as you can, even with the crazy schedules we have.
I think that's what they've called it breaking bread. Breaking bread together.
Spending time together.
Spending time together, just going over what's gone on in the day. And it's not only good for your physical being, but it's good for you emotionally as well.
If it's done in love and light. But if you're coming to the table to argue and fight, then you might as well not come to the table at all.
Then you may as well not. But if it is in love and light and you are doing it in a positive way, then it's a beautiful way to bring together at the end of the day.
Yes, and we're feeding our inner world as well as, having an external experience. So why do I choose organics? I choose organics because I choose self-love. And I've come through a terrible journey where I learned that it wasn't just about eating what we identified as healthy fruits and vegetables and poultry, but it was about actually choosing the right fruits and vegetables and poultry and starting to take into consideration how those fruits and veggies and poultry and meat and whatever have been treated in the industry, and the people that have handled them and picked them and made them possible for them to come to our table have been treated as well. So we're expanding our consciousness around food, fair trades and things of that nature are really important for the health of humans and for the health of the planet and for the universe as well. Okay, grass-fed. That's the question I get a lot of time. And again, I don't want you to become under an illusion that grass-fed means we've got these wonderful pastures where the cattle are walking around under the sun. And generally, that's not necessarily grass-fed. Grass-fed is they bring them in the grass. And that's what they're fed. And if it's organic, you know that at least they're getting fed organic grass as opposed to corn, which then, if the cow eats the corn and gets the corn worms in their intestines, and then you eat the cow that ate the corn, then you know what I'm saying? So it's just leveling up a little bit of consciousness. And it's all about the health and the connection between the gut and the mind. We're hearing more and more research coming out trying to say, a lot of the diseases that we're getting with the dementia and the Alzheimer's, et cetera, are actually caused by this rotted gut, which then you're not being oxygenated, that oven isn't working, the metabolism isn't doing its thing, and the messages don't get to the brain starts to slowly go dead. Now, I'm not a scientist. I'm just using logical sense here when I look at an anatomy and physiology of the human being.
Everything is connected.
Yeah, the knee bone's connected to the hip bone.
Right.
But we get a little bit separated out because we become under the illusion that, and under the veil or the mist that we don't have the knowledge to know what our body needs and how to take care of our body, because we've created this system of care that says this is the standard that you're going to get.
Yeah. Yep.
Or you can go find your own way.
Yeah.
So that's the way that's what's happened.
Yeah.
So there isn't really an individualized way. Even the food industry is standardized. Look at the tobacco industry. Do you think that the Indians got cancer from smoking the tobacco that they smoked? No, it got industrialized, and then through that process, we introduced a new element that created a disease from it.
Right. Well, plus that they also didn't smoke the tobacco the way people smoke tobacco now.
No, yeah.
For them, it was something that they used more in their ceremonies. They only smoked it occasionally.
Right.
Not like people who are chain smokers that are going through.
But again, the people that are chain smokers didn't become chain smokers without the industry producing an ingredient that made it so addictive that they couldn't do anything but chain smoke it. So the body and the mind connection and everything that we do becomes ingrained in patterns. Even the movement of the thing. You pick up a pen. My hand has gotten curved over the years from holding a pen, right? They become ingrained. So taking care of our body means we're taking care of our mind, means we're taking care of our whole being, which means our spirit will be well, and all will be well, and we have peace. if your body is having indigestion and you take something for that to help it, you're also taking in things that aren't going to help it. What does help indigestion? What is it called? Milk of magnesia?
Well, that's basically for constipation.
That's for constipation. Yeah. So what do you need then for constipation? Magnesium.
Yeah.
So what's in a banana?
Magnesium.
Magnesium. So when you have your first kind of relationship to how your body is responding to food, take a look and see, because you may be able to start making shifts with what's happening with your body with just simple food changes, and the relief will be wonderful. Yeah. Really, it will. It's not just about weight loss and getting into a certain piece of clothing or something, because you can do more damage to yourself by doing that. You want a healthy gut, not an empty gut, because you won't have a strong immune system. Right. The life that lives within us is what supports us. It's what makes us possible to be. So having a relationship with that is not something that we were raised on.
True, very true.
You know, yeah. And we came through that whole generation of, you know, what used to be eat from the farm became almost like, oh, you eat from the farm? Yeah. You know, I eat lean cuisine, right? Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. So it's just, it's the difference of, and oh, I have a microwave. I don't bother cooking my food. Yeah. I just pop it in the nuke machine. Yeah, right. Voila. Yeah. So again, cooking this is so quick and easy. I can see it's really boiling. And again, you have the ingredients that I used in this. Yes. If you wanted to write it down. Again, the one thing I would say in terms of the spices is, you know, have fun picking whatever spices work for you.
Yeah, whatever you like.
Yeah.
Is you use 3 pounds of grass-fed organic beef, 3 large onions, 3 large cloves of garlic, 3 tablespoons of butter. Or is that a cross out?
Well, I kind of broke it down. Okay. You know, you have to flavor that according to, you know, how much is absorbed. How much
olive oil did you put in?
About 3 tablespoons, okay. 1 1/2, you know, at a time.
And then a can of diced tomatoes, and 3 small cans of tomato paste.
That's the tomato paste I used.
Yeah, that's the basic size.
And these were the Italian flavored diced tomatoes.
Oh, nice.
So I add in some of the elements that we have that makes it easy and fresh. You know, we know that we don't want to necessarily go with just tomatoes. So keep it fun, keep it fresh. Yep. Try to avoid the processed foods. Choose healthy foods and healthy choices. You don't have to go vegetarian. No, it's all about being your best you. Thanks, Joan, for coming again.
Oh, thank you so much.
I know that we are always here. We're always working on different things together.
Yes, we are.
And it's always an honor that you come into the viewing room and watch us. I hope to see you around. You know, we thank everyone here at Nutmeg TV because they're always so helpful for every show that we produce and considerate in all the movements that we're making in our lives as we still want to come to you and share some of our tips and tricks. Is there a kind of like a final word you want to have for today? Healthy gut, healthy mind?
I think you said it all.
Healthy gut, healthy mind.
And eat well and enjoy.
Eat well and enjoy. Bon appetit.